All right, guys. So today we have to talk about a Marine who was relieved from duty for demanding accountability from our senior leaders in the military. Now, this Marine's name is Lieutenant Colonel Stuart Scheller, and he spoke out. Right, he went on social media, he went on Facebook, and bravely gave his opinion about what is going on in Afghanistan, because there are a lot of U.S. Military service members that are wondering if their sacrifices in the lives that were lost during this, Afghan war, were they lost in vain, right? And a lot of people have questions for our leadership in regards to what happened and why are people not taking responsibility? Why are people not admitting to their mistakes? Now, again, he spoke out, and I want you guys to listen to what he had to say. Take a look.
But the reason people are so upset on social media right now is not because the Marine on the battlefield let someone down. That service member has always rose to the occasion and done extraordinary things. People are upset because their senior leaders let them down, and none of them are raising their hands and accepting accountability or saying, we messed this up. If an 05 battalion commander has the simplest live fire incident EO complaint, boom, fired. But we have a Secretary of Defense that testified to Congress in May that the Afghan National Security Force could withstand the Taliban advance. We have chairmen of Joint Chief, who the Commandant is a member of that, who's supposed to advise on military policy. We have a Marine combatant commander. All of these people are supposed to advise. And I'm not saying we've got to be in Afghanistan forever, but I am saying, did any of you throw your rank on the table and say, hey, it's a bad idea to evacuate Bagram Airfield, the strategic air base, before we evacuate everyone? Did anyone do that? And when you didn't think to do that, did anyone raise their hand and say, we completely messed this up? I've got battalion commander friends right now that are posting similar things, and they're saying, wondering if all the lives were lost and if it was in vain, all those people that we've lost over the last 20 years. And he goes on to say that we're all part of a chain. While every link may not be tested, the strength of the chain is only as strong as each link, and you got to be, good link, something like that. And what I'll say is, and from my position, potentially all those people did die in vain if we don't have senior leaders that own up and raise their hand and say, we did not do this well in the end. Without that, we just keep repeating the same mistakes. This amalgamation of the economic / corporate / political / higher military ranks are not holding up their end of the bargain. I want to say this very strongly. I have been fighting for 17 years. I am willing to throw it all away to say to my senior leaders, I demand accountability.
All right, guys. So it's being reported here that Scheller, who is a father of three, had been in the Marine Corps infantry for 17 years. Okay, now again, a part of the military leadership that he was criticizing is Marine Commandant David H. Berger, Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin, and Joint Chief of Staff General Mark A. Miley. Okay, and after speaking out, he was relieved of duty. Okay, and he actually posted a message confirming that. He said he was relieved for cause based on a lack of trust and confidence. He says, quote, my chain of command is doing exactly what I would do if I were in their shoes. He wrote, I appreciate the opportunities AITB command provided to all the news agencies asking for interviews. I will not be making any statements other than what's on my social platforms until I exit the Marine Corps. He continued, America has many issues, but it's my home. It's where my three sons will become men. America is still the light shining in a fog of chaos. When my Marine Corps career comes to an end, I look forward to a new beginning. My life's purpose is to make America the most lethal and effective foreign diplomacy instrument. While my days of hand-to-hand violence may be ending, I see a new light on the horizon. Now, guys, again, I want to be the first one to say thank you for your service. And for anybody who watches my videos that was in the military, I want to say thank you for your service. And it is pretty brave for this lieutenant colonel to speak out, knowing that, he would be removed. And also, I mean, he's been in the military for 17 years, right? He's 3 years away from that coveted, 20-year retirement. And, he made a sacrifice. He knew what the consequences would be, but he stood on his principles anyways, right? He stood on his convictions. And I respect a man like that who stands on his convictions, even in the face of understanding the consequences for that, right? That is a very, very, very difficult thing to do. That's not easy, okay? And the fact that he did that, even though, I think it's against, like the code in the military. And again, guys, I don't know all that much about this. I'm not in the military, even though I do have family members who have served, who've been there for 20 plus years and have retired. Okay. But it is my understanding that you can't speak out on social media on issues like this, right? That there is an appropriate forum and, counselors that you can go to if you want to express your opinion. But this lieutenant colonel decided to speak out on social media, and that comes with consequences. Now, in regards to the substance of what he's saying, I agree. Why are our military leaders not being held accountable? Well, I mean, first it starts with Biden, whom really is not holding himself accountable, right? He's not admitting to his mistakes. Okay, now he's saying that the buck stops with me. However, he keeps throwing in Trump. He keeps talking about, well, I take responsibility, but Trump. And that's not how you take responsibility for anything, guys. It's not. I think I mentioned this before. I'll mention again. One of the hard lessons that I learned in the corporate world is that, when you make a mistake, you got to own it, right? You have to own it 100%, even if it is complicated, right? Like maybe you and the other person you was working with, y'all both are responsible. But if, it falls on you, then you just have to take blame and responsibility for it. Okay. It is what it is. It's just way better for you to do that. But that's not what we're seeing from Biden, who is at the top, right? He's technically the commander in chief. Okay. So if he's not going to really take full responsibility, of course, people under him, the generals under him, they're not going to either. And I don't think it's wrong to question that. I don't think it's wrong to question leadership, especially when we're losing lives, right? When people are saying that this thing is being handled in almost the worst way possible, when there were questionable decisions made, I don't think it's wrong to question our leadership and say, hey, who's responsible for this? Did we thoroughly think this thing through? Okay. Why are you not being held accountable? And I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I think people should do that. That's how you get better. That's how you improve. Nobody should be above criticism. But again, like I said, I only can say so much about this because, again, I'm not in the military, so I don't know. Okay. Now, in regards to him saying that there's some service members who feel like their sacrifices were made in vain, right? That it was all for nothing. Now, again, there's only so much I can say about this, but I will say this. I don't think that their sacrifices were for nothing. That's just my opinion. That's just my opinion because, regardless of whether or not you agree or whether or not we should be there or not, we did go in there and we did try to make it a better place. Okay, we did try. Now, again, you guys have heard I've had plenty of criticisms for, us going on these nation building extravaganzas. But with that being said, our men and women on the ground, right, they did not fail us, right? They went in there and did the job they was told to do. That's the only thing they can do. So they did not fail. They went in there. We tried to make Afghanistan a better place. We tried to make it a democracy. We tried to make it a place where women can thrive, where they can operate as a civilized country, right? We tried. And a lot of our brave men and women made friends in that process, made allies in that process, okay? They did. And that's why you see a lot of, these guys speaking out and saying, hey, we got to get all of our friends out, right? They send friends. We have to get our allies out, okay? And they're talking about the Afghan civilians and interpreters that helped them out, that they created relationships with, trying to help them get a better life, right? And I think what makes it not in vain, right? What makes it, I'm not necessarily, again, going to speak on and say, was the sacrifice worth it? I'm not going to say all that because, again, there's only so much I can say. But in my opinion, I think getting those people out right? Getting them to a safe space, getting them to, another country, whether that's the U.S. or another country abroad. Again, I spoke out how I feel about, the refugees and all that stuff. You guys can watch a video on that. But getting those people out, right, I think is what makes it salvageable, right? Even though it's a colossal failure in terms of our withdrawal, I think what makes it salvageable is getting out those who helped us and getting them to a place where they can have a better life, okay? I think that's what makes it salvageable. I think that's what makes it so it's like, okay, it wasn't all in vain. It wasn't all for nothing. We did get something out of it. We did improve some people's lives. You know what? We tried, right? We tried. So, like I said, man, again, it's complicated. It's one of those things that I only can really speak on from a very limited capacity. But I did want to respond to this. So let me know what you guys think. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Most importantly, share a Black conservative perspective. Peace.